Here are the piggy wiggies again. Makes me wonder, I mean, I do think that smoke is crawling about in their head.
Responsibility. But someone I trusted, which was you, Sparrow, and you, Olive, and you, Praise. I trusted you all.
Certainly misplaced.
And next thing I know, I'm accused of stealing some money, either directly or indirectly.
Hey, it's Kenny 3, Doctors Kenny.
Now, if I'm mistaken, I'll take the blame. But there are other people out there that seem to have the same impression that I got. Hold on. You're interrupting me, honey. Please. If we're going to communicate, no, hold on. Hold on, please. If we're going to communicate, we have to let someone speak their piece, and then you speak your piece. We take turns. We don't interrupt. And then we clarify it. Now, if I have misspoken or if I have misunderstood, then now is your turn, not in some sort of defense mechanism, but say to a fellow brother, you know what? If that's what you were made to feel, then I'm sorry. Don't put the blame on me because I was made to feel a certain way.
Did you say so, Mama?
Yes, I'm glad that you put this on pause. Do you remember when I went in there and they had to even bring my dad up and they did their shit and I apologized to them? I literally asked for peace and I told them I am so sorry for ever hurting you guys. Like, I am very sorry. Can we just have peace? And they both stood up.
And then we clarify it. Now, if I have misspoken.
Is that Sparrow or Olive? There's not much difference between them. He wanted peace. On her terms, yeah.
Or if I have misunderstood, then now is your turn, not in some sort of defense mechanism, but say to a fellow brother, you know what? If that's what you were made to feel, then I'm sorry. Don't put the blame on me because I was made to feel a certain way.
Did you say so, Mama?
Yes, I'm glad that you put this on pause. Do you remember when I went in there and they had to even bring my dad up and they did their shit and I apologized to them? I literally asked for peace and I told them I'm so sorry for ever hurting you guys. Like, I am very sorry. Can we just have peace? And they both stood up so high with their chest puffed out and they said no. And they said, and I forget.
Well, you think you're high and mighty in your studio, don't you? What on earth do you think you are? And if anybody knows, please do not tell me.
Exactly what they said, but it was something like, we deserve bad.
Yes, and Basement and Gavin and everyone was in the chat saying
and
this.
Gavin was actually telling me to shut up.
Gavin, every three comments, Gavin would tell Olive to shut up. Every 3 comments.
Good.
And I was actually asking them for peace, and I was apologizing after the crap and even the threats that Smokey
gave. Your mouth.
Yeah. It said that my parents, it sucks that my parents have 2 horrible kids and that they're going to pay for it, for having 2 horrible kids. Something along, I still have those screenshots, and I'm apologizing to them. I'm apologizing to them up on Kenny's stream. And they ignored it. They didn't want peace. And they went the hatred route. And
no one stood up next to you guys.
And no one did.
Right. With your dad. Not one of them. Not one. None of them. It was so bad that they all turned right at that moment.
And now Kenny wants to get up.
Oh, you poor victims, you. You have been persecuted for your righteousness. Not.
Here and play the violin like
Right.
bigger and better guy, like he's gonna try to say that he admitted his
That-
faults and all this and that we're not the Christians. They had that.
What are you doing now playing your violin? You keep going on and on and on about how badly you think you've been treated. Hopefully, people are getting sick of hearing you.
moment. I was actually begging for peace because of my mom. And I told them. And they just sat there with their chests so puffed out.
Your
And
God.
all of them were telling me to even like with Gab. So yeah.
It's
No.
Golden Hooliman.
It's praise the turd.
I had to pull it out. I just had to. There he is. The big hairy ape. Yeah. You can get down to that. But I think that's pathetic. as
Yeah,
well.
and Kenny's sitting here saying, if I've grown, and I mean, come on.
You're pathetic, praise. You're the pathetic of the pathetic. You are the icon of patheticism. You just, what on earth are you? Seriously.
Like he said, if he did something wrong and he wasn't aware of it, he's very aware of what went down.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I
just saying,
challenge
Will.
Rob. So, Dave, you're
That's
issuing a
debate that
challenge
Rob
here.
will not take
Interesting,
up.
buddy. I challenge Rob Reed to a live debate about what he doesn't know about Genesis chapter 1 and his ideas of God before God created the heaven and the earth. You lose, Rob. Oh, Rob. You're going to take that from Dave? What is it, Habevo? Habevoism. You're taking that from Dave's Habevoism? No, actually, Rob is
Rob Reed
pretty
is
stout in the Hebrew. I'm pretty impressed.
Mm-hmm.
He's what?
Yeah,
He is.
pretty good.
In Hebrew.
I'm impressed with Rob's Hebrew.
And I mean, come
It's
on.
not difficult to impress you, praise.
Like he said, if he did something wrong and he wasn't aware of it, he's very aware of what went down.
Mm-hmm.
I
just saying,
challenge
Will.
Rob. So, Dave, you're issuing a challenge here. Interesting, buddy. I challenge Rob Reed to a live debate about what he doesn't know about Genesis chapter 1 and his ideas of God before God created the heaven and the earth. You lose, Rob. Oh, Rob. You're going to take that from Dave? What is it, Habevo? Habevoism. You're taking that from Dave's Habevoism? No, actually, Rob is pretty stout in the Hebrew. I'm pretty impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He is.
pretty good.
You're easily impressed.
I'm impressed with Rob's Hebrew understanding. So Rob had some training in Hebrew. That's pretty cool. But continuing on.
I'm telling you how I felt, how the situation made
It's
me
Kenny
feel,
Robes!
and all I'm getting is
Kenny Robes! I am the victim here just because I prayed imprecatory prayers, lied, mocked, and behaved callously. I am still the victim. I am my hero, and I'm so humble. Yep. That's Kenny Robes. Or Kemby Rhodes. Kemby, let me see if Kemby has his wrench. Hold on here. We got to make sure Kemby got the wrench because he's one of my favorite ones.
Ken B. Robes. That's a really good name.
Tuesday. And the current time is 9 hours, 34 minutes UTC, 4:34 a.m. Central Daylight Time here in the Central Time Zone, USA, where I'm located. I'm not feeling well. I was sleeping a lot here the last while. I was trying to listen to Praise I Am, starting and stopping Smokey Saint 1,000 times. Every 5 minutes, I finally fell asleep. So I don't know what to make of that. A lot of arguing about everything, but nothing at all. So who knows what's going on with that? I'm not too interested in it. So that's what you do. You just change this channel. You don't go chase somebody down all over the country because you don't like them. Make their life miserable. You let them talk about what they want to talk about. Let the Lord figure it out. Hey, what's up, Pat? Haven't seen you in a while. This is the old channel, but it's not working right because it's a brand account, so I can't censor the chat room. I can't put the right thumbnail on. I'm taken down on my News Unit Underground temporarily. I don't know if you knew I was on that one or not, but News Unit Underground is my other channel. This channel called News Unit Underground, and the Christians flagged me. They're all against me. And I'm sick. I got a bad stomach here the last couple of days. It's really ridiculous. So I'm laying around here just trying to get well. So top of the morning to you too. Imagine you're getting up ready to go somewhere, huh? What you doing today? Something outdoorsy, or are you going to work just? All right. I just thought I'd start a new broadcast in the standby mode, kind of just let it lay here because I got a couple people that come in and out, you know. That's about it. I'm not going to sit at the microphone for really too long here because I'm kind of not doing too well as far as it goes. But we do run a broadcast here every now and then. Keep things rocking. We hear from the usual folks, Chuck, Buddy Time, Haffy, occasionally All in Gold. A couple of gals, Shannon, Candace. Jordan's the new moderator. There's all sorts of upheavals on them other Christian channels. It's a joke. And all sorts of shit like that. Bob knows all about it. He watches these clowns too. So you know how that works. I'm not feeling good, guys. Just kind of here. Not really doing too much. I haven't heard from Yuri in a while. Wonder what he's doing. We hear from a few other folks too. That's about it. I don't really care. I'm not really worried about a big crowd over here. I want to listen to a sermon, but I can't find it. They took it down off Columbus Bible Church. I'm really disgusted with that. I don't know if they're going to put it back up or not. This last Sunday's sermon was real good. I don't know why they took it down. It was really decent. Maybe he made a mistake on there and he didn't like something, so he took it down. Yeah, that's all right. Well, there's hardly anybody worth listening to. Be quite honest with you. Across YouTube lately, it's just a cesspool of shit.
Fine pasture. Now, per this debate, I have to bring in Romans 11 because Romans 11 is directly tied to John 10.
not 3.5 years, and then you got to make up something about Stephen stoning.
Still going on about it.
No, it's the 70th week because it's the end of the prophecy to fulfill the things that he fulfills. His ministry starts at the beginning of the last 7 years, and he confirms the covenant with his people for the whole 7 years, but he is cut off. But his disciples continue his message, focusing on the people. Once he's cut off, he's already confirmed the covenant. So I don't think it has to be. It doesn't have to. I mean, obviously, if it said, and the 70th week ended when Jesus' disciples finished the 70th week for him, no one.
Oh, I can't
Try to play like
Jamie. Just nauseating. He just. It's
it's
just
pretty
something
cheap
about
too.
it. Just sickening, really. So they've had how long was the whinge for? Oh yeah, a 5.5 hour whinge. That'll get Olive and Sparrow excited, that one. There's no way I was going to thumb that one.
Into right now. Nothing new.
Harvest.
That'd be a good idea. Yeah, I never thought about that. Let's do that. News Unit Underground.
Well, that's. I've got other things.
Play my own sermons.
Who? Oh, what's this?
I really don't want to do that. Let's see here. What should I do?
Oh, his response to Jamie Russell. I'll go look at that in a minute.
I can't believe that YouTube took my Genesis 3 study down and told me I was dishing out medical and misinformation again, which I wasn't. That's just weird. That's just plain stupid.
Yeah, well, that's.
There was not one thing on there about medical or anything.
No, I know. I was there in the studio with you, I think, wasn't I?
So I'm just subject to censorship just automatically for no reason. For reading the Bible and staying out of all the news and shit.
Oh, there is a
Which is what I've been doing.
Dave.
I don't even care about what's going on in the news.
I think what some of Praise's crew did the dirty on you.
Isn't that amazing?
Could have been Ryan or someone, I don't know. I know you said a certain female was asking people to give your channel some strikes or whatever you call it, reports. I don't know. Let's see what Chris Lucas is.
Well, I'm going to give, what's the name of the guy? Geez, I can't even remember now. The pastor out of Tennessee there, Charles Lawson.
Oh, yeah.
Zion 4131. I couldn't remember the channel name.
I used to listen to
The
Charles.
simplicity of the gospel of Christ. Oh, yeah. What do you know about the gospel? You must be born again, probably. So we'll listen to this guy, another Baptist preacher.
I haven't listened to Charles
and accused
in probably about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, something like that.
Standing for truth of slander. But Jamie, he actually tried to help you out, and he's a futurist. But what it is these Seventh-day Adventists, they can't explain the book of Daniel properly because they got to cling on to Ellen White. They got to say that Jesus, this whole 1844, Jesus entered the most holy, or I don't know what. I really kind of don't really understand what they're saying. Like somehow Jesus entered the sanctuary in 1844, and they take 457 BC which is also the start of the 70 weeks of Daniel, is when Artaxerxes gives that decree to rebuild Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And so 70 weeks is supposed to be 70 sevens of years. All right. So it's 70 times 70. I mean, 7 times 70. So you get 490. So 490 from 457 BC gets you all the way up to 34 AD. And one of the things about the Seventh-day Adventists that I learned, they don't even trust like the Naval Observatory, which says that the Passover should have happened on Tuesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. I've seen like a couple of calculations, Tuesday or Wednesday of 31 AD. The problem with the Seventh-day Adventists is that they believe that Jesus got crucified on a Friday. So they believe, kind of like the traditional thing that Catholics and a lot of Protestants teach, is that Jesus was crucified on a Friday, and somehow they get 3 days and 3 nights out of being crucified on Friday. And and also that also helps out the Sunday people that want to believe that they're celebrating Jesus got resurrected on Sunday, which the Seventh-day Adventists are supposed to be so against Sunday. And it's like, let's give them more ammunition, let's believe Jesus got crucified on Wednesday, but I mean on Friday. That's what they want to believe, even though the Naval Observatory says it should have been on a Tuesday. But see, the reason why it's got to be 31 AD for them is because of that whole 2,300 days that's supposed to be years. That they get that number from the Daniel 8:14. Oh, hello everybody that's in the room. King James version. Nice to see you. So anyway, I'm gonna bring up this little this one website, and I did leave the link in the Hey, Von Eric, good to see you. I'm just making a quick video, guys. I'm not really having anyone on. I just gotta I saw Jamie talking about this whole Daniel 8, and he made this video, so it's just kind of a video, or kind of a quick video response. I'm gonna try to keep under 20 minutes, maybe try to keep it under a half hour at least. But anyway, there's a site called BibleArchaeology.org, and basically, so they believe Jesus, like the Seventh-day Adventists believe Jesus entered into the Holy of Holies, and it's like, okay, if I'm trying to read this from them, because they believe that this little horn's actually talking about Rome, the papacy, which it really can't be talking about Rome, but let's just pretend it is. But up here, I'm showing that it's Alexander the Great is the large horn, out of which 4 little horns come, and all these people are still from Greece. So he's got 4 generals that come from Greece that take over. Then you got a little horn that arises out of this, and so so let me go to I'll just start with Daniel 9. Out of one of them, apparently one of the 4 conspicuous horns, which were the kingdoms arising from Alexander's 4 Greek generals, came a rather small horn. And this is what the Adventists would say is Rome, which is wrong. Anyway, so since it is a horn, and since the preceding 4 horns were derived from one large horn representing Alexander, this rather small horn was in turn derived from one of the 4 horns, logically give rise to other horns, making this rather small horn of Greek extraction. That's all it can be. You know what? I might need to just kind of read this out of. Let me just kind of read it out of here, so I'm not reading all these footnotes. I don't know. I kind of like these notes, though. But anyway, I'll just go down to here. It says, which grew exceedingly great, rose powerfully against the south, toward the east, and towards the beautiful land. So the beautiful is Judea. The geographic location of these of the lands the rather small horn rose powerfully against cannot be interpreted apart from Daniel 8:9, which defines the beginning of Daniel 8:9, which defines his kingdom as arising from the Greek forebears. So Daniel 8:10, it, the rather small horn, grew up against the host of heaven. You know what? I will switch to this because these footnotes are kind of like killing my train of thought a little bit. So anyway, so I'm kind of just reading out of the Geneva Bible now. So this is the part where I'm getting like really confused about, because like I said, they believe this well they'll say this horn is Rome, and so it's like out came forth a little horn which waxed very great towards the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land, yet it grew up unto the host of heaven and cast down some of the host and some of the stars to the ground. Now the host of heaven, I would say this is the Jewish people. So it grew up against the Jewish people and it cast down some of the hosts. So cast down, I take that to mean killed some of the hosts, some of the Jews, and some of the stars to the ground and trode upon them. The stars would be like the Jewish leaders, and extolled himself against the prince of the host, from whom the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. So I would say the prince of the host would probably be God. So extolled himself against God, the prince of the host, from whom the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. So far, okay, so it's like saying Rome. Well, I guess if it's going to stretch from 2,300 years, if the Antichrist rose up against the host of heaven, that would be the Christians and Jews. And because now typically this would just all be about the Jews and Antiochus Epiphanes. But since the Seventh-day Adventists want to say this stretches 2,300 years, we got to say it's the Christians. So I'm kind of trying to read it in that context. So Rome grew up against, but how can it be Rome if it starts in 457 BC? See, this is where I'm just like starting to like, and he says I'm misrepresenting him, but dude, this is confusing. It grew up against the host of heaven, but you're saying that this prophecy started in 457 BC, and it cast down some of the host, some of the Jews and Christians, and some of the, I guess, Christian leaders and Jewish leaders to the ground and trode upon them, and extolled himself against the prince of the host, which I guess would be God in heaven, and from whom the daily sacrifice is taken away. See, this is where I start to get confused, because how did he take the daily sacrifice away if this is 2,300 years? It's like I'm starting to get all kinds of confusing. Jesus took the sacrifice away, right? According to them in Daniel 9:27, Jesus is the one that caused the sacrifice and oblations to cease, which I believe Jesus did that. But the problem is, if you're going to say this is future and this is Rome doing this and that this is going over 2,300 years, it's like, well, now it's Jesus must be the little horn. This is what I keep arguing with Jamie. I'm like, dude, now you're saying that, okay, it's either, I know you're trying to say this is Rome himself. You're trying to say that's Rome, but at the same time, the daily sacrifice was taken away. and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. But
Yeah,
he
but
took the
that's not
sacrifice
awful.
away. It's the Antichrist, the little horn. But you're also saying in Daniel 9:27, it's Jesus. Like, this is where it's just starting to get, your theology gets all warped. Because who else took it away? How was it taken away in heaven? Because I know they're saying this is happening in heaven. How is he doing this in heaven? How can we confirm this with our eyesight? And then he calls himself a historicist, but he says this is future. But the only people that I've ever known that said this is future are futurists. It's like the preterists say this already happened. The historicists say this already happened. The futurists say it's future. Jamie says it's future. He's a futurist, but he got mad at me for calling him a futurist. It's like, oh, hey, Bjorn. By the way, Bjorn, I just want to say, dude, I'm sorry that I accidentally said your name in that one video when I was thinking about Jorg. And because your name was on the screen, I said Bjorn, but man, I hope you didn't think I was actually talking bad about you. I accidentally just confused your name, so sorry about that. Because I saw your name up on the screen, but I was thinking of Jorg, and you know how the mind can be. But anyway, so anyway, it said, then I heard one, let's see here, and it says, and a time shall be given him over to the daily sacrifice for the iniquity, and it shall cast down the truth to the ground, and thus it shall do and prosper. And I'm just like, I'm really confused because I thought Jesus ended the need for a daily sacrifice. So are we saying that Jesus is up in heaven sacrificing himself daily? Or was that sacrifice something he did just one time and everything's done? I mean, you realize how stupid this starts to get and how confusing it is. That's why I kept, on his show, I kept saying, Jamie, explain Daniel 8 to the guy so he won't be so confused. Because it's like, because part of the problem is, what happened to this sanctuary? It's like, is because the futurists teach a third temple. So and I don't know, it doesn't. And then it's like, I thought we are now the temple of God, right? Like, God resides in us now. So isn't this temple inside of us? And so, but it wouldn't make sense in Daniel 8 if you try to say that and try to say that's future, because now we're the temple of God. And so that's why I don't believe in a third temple, because if we start up a third temple, it would be abominations. It would be nothing but abominations. And then if you have the Antichrist in Daniel 9:27 stopping the sacrifices in the middle of the week, why is the Antichrist stopping abominations in the middle of the week? You would think the Antichrist would be like, hey, guys, let's make some more, keep doing it. Because we're insulting God, because we're saying, God, you think your son was that good of a sacrifice? Nah, these animals are better, right? I mean, these people are committing blasphemy, right? So it's like the Antichrist is not going to come in and be like, hey, guys, we don't want to offend God, so let's stop these sacrifices, okay? Like, the Antichrist just won't do that. So that's why this whole third temple thing does not make any sense to me. And so I don't even know how that's future, but like I said, they got their little prophet that's saying like this is in heaven, and I'm not seeing it. That's why I kept asking Jamie, try to walk me through this, because I just tried to walk through it, and he got mad when I walked through it, and he was so mad. He's like, no, we don't believe that at all. And I'm like, okay, well, explain it to me. And instead, when he goes and makes his video, like a little, oh man, I want to call him so many names. But I mean, like, he really picks the wimpiest argument because he's wimpy. So I'm not slandering you. I'm going to be real careful not to slander you, Jamie. I'm just going to call you wimpy and weak. And that's not slander if it's truth, right? So So you pick the one thing where you're not really like, I mean, you really didn't even like, I don't know, show me where I'm wrong. But why not take the harder one that we're all having a problem with, the one that Standing for Truth is laughing at you about, right? I'm like getting mad at you and mad at every single Seventh-day Adventist over this, because it's like, it's so dishonest. Let's see what Bjorn says. He says, that's okay. Jesus Christ was the last sacrifice for the temple and the rebellion of the corrupt Jewish system, blood sacrifice in Jerusalem, 780. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna bring up Daniel 9:27, because it says 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the wickedness and to seal up the sins and to reconcile the iniquity and to bring in an everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and the prophecy and to anoint the most holy. See, right at the end, it says to anoint the most holy. So I'm thinking that should be the last thing that happens in these 70 weeks, right? And basically it's like to finish up the wickedness. That means rebellion, rejection of the Messiah and all that, you know, all the things that the Jews have been doing. So, so let's see here, seal up the sins. So I'm thinking that probably means put an end to sin. Let's see what these people said. Yeah, to show mercy and put sin out of remembrance. Okay. And to reconcile the iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness. So, and like I said, at the end it says, and anoint the most holy. So when we, well, I guess I better just read this whole thing for context. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to bring again the people to build Jerusalem, which was Artaxerxes in 457 BC, unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks, and the street shall be built again, and the wall even in a troublous times. Now, I always kind of wonder, man, if that troublous times might have also been around like that time of never mind. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, and after 62 weeks shall Messiah be slain and shall have nothing, and the people of the prince shall come and destroy the city and the sanctuary. See, the sanctuary is getting destroyed right here. So they're destroying the sanctuary, but yet Jamie says that's future. And the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the battle it shall be destroyed by desolations. And he, so that's talking about the Messiah, shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation is determined, shall be poured out upon the desolate. But the problem with this is when you put that day